butt sex.
Whether it's
Wow, thanks. I'm cured.
New York state of mind
Cats on pizza.
or non-credible defense.
There's a sub for that.
Welcome to the front podcast of the internet.
He's your host, Willy. If it doesn't get all over the place, it doesn't belong on your face, Mattson.
And he's your other host, Scott. Have you seen my stapler, Gurrola?
We're a show all about Reddit.
Covering all the ups and downvotes in about 30 minutes.
And if you like the show, you can find more of us
On TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram.
or eagerly anticipating all the brand new things from this year's Minecraft Live.
Yes!
So,
in all honesty, I really love watching Minecraft Live. Like, I just like seeing what they do. When is that this year?
it just happened today.
Is that a thing? Is that a thing we're going to talk about later or no?
It wasn't in my stories. It didn't make the page.
I feel like, how much more can they really do? They've been doing this game. Oh my God, llamas.
They have 7 new starting characters.
Batman is coming to Minecraft. What does that mean?
You could buy Batman accessories.
Oh, okay, cool. You can buy things. I mean, cool. Listen, if you're an adult now, you're listening to this show, and you think to yourself, there's no way in hell I'm going to go play Minecraft. You're wrong.
It is the video game version of Lego.
Well, Scott, speaking of things people just don't understand, today in the subreddit, Ask Reddit, there was a question that was posed, and I saw this all over TikTok this week, that said, non-Americans, what do you think every American person has in their home?
Hang on. Before we start this, because this is a really good one, and I'm sorry to everybody, this is a little out of order, but can I read you my question of the day?
Yeah.
All right. It kind of ties into what we were talking about. Non-Americans, what do you think every American person has in their house?
At least
It's
we
a
are
daily double. We got a daily double.
That's amazing. So Scott and I have the same thing for the day. Still go to our TikTok because we have plenty of stuff. I'm assuming then you had a chance to kind of go through some of these.
Nope, I haven't looked at it at all. I wanted to see
haven't?
what your reaction would be. Hence the reason we have
Non-disclosure agreements each week.
yeah.
The Lynx Rufus, first comment here says, this is the most wholesome I felt about my country in a while. Yes, these things do exist. And it's really surprising to me that it wouldn't exist. Peanut butter.
Yeah, and now this question is to all non-Americans. Peanut butter must not be a thing in other countries?
When I was in Greece, obviously a decade or so ago, they had Nutella. That was everywhere.
Right.
Peanut butter wasn't accessible, and I just thought to myself, like, maybe they don't
I
have
remember
peanuts.
hearing about Nutella from other people around the world, but it's relatively new here, right? Maybe last 10, 15 years?
What? You really think that peanut butter has only been around for 10, 15
No,
years?
no. Nutella.
Oh.
Peanut butter has been around since the dawn of time. I'm pretty sure Moses was sticking a finger in it as he was walking across the Red Sea.
Just squirting peanut butter out the back. Nutella came to the U.S. in 1983, but I'm assuming it didn't become...
Yeah, that was 20 years ago, right? Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Speaking of darkness, when it gets a little hot outside and you find yourself stuck in the darkness that is your home, air conditioner. You're trying to tell me that that's not that common around the world?
No, there's a lot of places. When I went to Paris, no air conditioning.
Was that the case? No, we had an AC in ours. It was one of those top mounted ones, in the top corner. We don't have those. Our air conditioner, it's either centralized or it's one you stick in a window.
Right, and hope you don't drop it on the Mista lady.
Did you ever growing up not have air conditioning?
As a child, well, I mean, we would just open the windows, at night. Windows open, no air conditioning.
And my parents ran the air conditioning all the time. Unless it was snowing or below 32 degrees, the air conditioning was on.
Your nipples must have been hard 24/7.
There was never a moment that my dad or mom didn't have multiple blankets around them. And I kept thinking to myself, I bet this is why I hate Minnesota with a fervor. Is that right now, as we record, it is 39 degrees outside. I had to put my heated seat. This is such a first world problem. I had to start my car before I got in it. I had to put the heated seats on and put it to 72 degrees because everything hurt my body. It was so cold.
I am a lizard person, so I need it to be warm all the time. My partner is the opposite. She would rather it be chilly and wear several layers.
Same.
So
I don't understand.
That's got to be a Minnesota thing.
It's got to be. Let me do a couple of really quick hot takes here. Barbecue sauce.
Love it.
Always.
Can't have it.
But it has to be there. It exists in all kitchens. Popcorn setting on the microwave.
Popcorn is not a thing?
Not
Outside
popcorn. Listen to the whole statement.
Okay.
The popcorn setting on the microwave.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying, popcorn is not a thing outside of the United States?
I bet it is. I'm thinking
you
that
listen to the statement.
I know, Scott. I know what you're saying. And I think popcorn is normal. I don't think having a fucking button on the microwave is normal.
Why not? What else is it going to be?
You know you're not supposed to use that button. Just because it's there doesn't mean you press that button. It delivers horseshit popcorn. That type of button, it's a farce. It's to find out if you're Canadian.
You can go to your local big box retail store or online retailer, and you can find a popcorn maker, either a stand-up one or a bowl type one that's got a little windy hand, and it's like $30. Do that. Skip a week's worth of coffee. Sorry, Willy. And just buy yourself a decent popcorn maker.
Honestly, you could just make it with a pot on the stove, like something that you'd cook pasta in. The answer is stop making popcorn in the microwave. Just do it on the stove. It's better. What about cereal?
I don't have any cereal in my house, and I'm American. Do you have cereal in your house right now? Be honest.
Do you want to take a guess? I'm going to show this to you. This is going to be a
Captain
visual
Crunch.
prop.
Captain Crunch?
You think it's Captain Crunch?
Fruity Pebbles. Frosted Mini Wheats?
You're
Special
skipping
K.
over. You're skipping over literally the best cereal.
Honey
of
Nut
all time.
Cheerios.
No, the best cereal of all time.
Chex Mix?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Can you read either?
Sorry. My video's cropped on my screen.
I also don't want to talk about. I did not open this. This is not my open. This.
Okay, for those people who are at home right now, this savage, obviously, in a diabetic episode, just started gnawing at the box top and ripped it off with his mouth. Because what happened there? I want to hear the story.
It looks like mice. It looks like a bunch of rats, like New York City rats, got to the top of this box of cereal. My partner went camping. She comes back and she's like, "Yeah, I brought myself some snacks. I'm going to put them in the cupboard." And I was like, "What's that?" "Cinnamon Toast Crunch." And I go, No. What's that? And she goes, "What do you mean? I don't understand. It's a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch." And I was like, "What kind of psychopath rips the box open?" And she's like, "Well, there was a lot going on and I was trying to start a fire while I was doing." I'm like, no. And then I come to find out that she just ripped a piece off because she needed to write something down on it.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that is an explanation.
But at that point, I would much rather not have the box of cereal at all and just burn it. Just put it in the fire.
Well, speaking of people who need to eat cereal to survive.
You don't know.
Today in technology, a tech CEO calls overemployment a trend. A new form of theft and deception after firing 2 engineers secretly working multiple full-time jobs at once.
This is really interesting. This started to make its way across the internet a few months back. And what's happening is people have realized that while they're working, say, work from home, there's a lot of in-between time where you don't really have tasks to get done. You're not held to like an hourly standard. It isn't like hit end on a phone call and pick up another like challenging phone call, customer support type deal. It's I have a project that I'm working on, and this project needs to be completed by a date. So I can kind of mix and match my time when I feel I need to. Well, in a lot of those roles, once you're there and you get through that initial phase of getting going, you realize that you can kind of take a step back and do a lot of BS work in between. So people said,
go golfing.
Or go golfing. So people have said, instead of me going golfing, why not just get a second job doing the exact same thing? That's not a violation of my NDA or doesn't breach any contracts. I'm going to get 2 full-time jobs and just fill all that time. I have seen somebody upwards of 7 or 8 jobs that they filled, getting huge salaries to do the same work. I think the CEO is just mad that this person found a loophole.
I'm personally for these people being able to do this because this sounds like one of those life hacks that you read about.
Totally. And it's a good main hustle.
Yeah, exactly. It's not even a side hustle. It's a side-by-side hustle, if anything.
That was good. That was better than my joke. It's fine.
But there's a little bit story within the story, of course.
Sure.
These guys were actually starting to not show up to meetings. They slacked off at the one job and they were let go. However, overemployment just seems kind of ironic in a time where people are struggling. Mm-hmm. And these were engineering jobs, so they were making $130, $140
starting pay.
Yeah. The fact that you can do these jobs and have these projects, I think is fine. Somebody needs to do them. That's cool. I have friends who have these types of jobs. It sounds really nice. But saying that you can't have another job while maybe you're on the board or a couple boards, just kind of smack of hypocrisy.
That's so accurate, because if you are a CEO of a company, you might be a chairman of a board for another company. You might have other vested interests. Maybe you're like Elon Musk and you own Tesla
Several.
and SpaceX and this weird robot venture that they're trying to do. I think they found a way to abuse their own power within their own control, and the people at the top didn't like it.
Now, if these guys were just towing the line and like doing the bare minimum, sure, cut the fat. Everybody's kind of doing it right now, or going on to hiring freezes. I get that. But if you're somebody who can do the job proficiently, maybe even better than expected, and you find a way to become efficient enough to take on another role, there should be nothing stopping. Like, this should be an encouragement thing. They should be doing this on Indeed or LinkedIn, where they offer job bundles. Be like, are you super good in your job right now? Here's 2 engineering jobs. You can be a millionaire if you take these spots from these 2 companies. Recruiters, I just gave you a free gift. You can get 1 person hired for 2 companies. That's got to be some kind of bonus, right?
Do recruiters get bonuses? Do they get bonuses?
Oh, they work on commission, my friend.
Are you serious?
You don't get paid unless you play somebody. Unless you're a recruiter, tell me I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure it's a sales-like job.
Man, that's got to be cutthroat. I don't like commission-based sales jobs because they're hard. You have to work at them. No, it feels, a part of it just feels, not genuine. It feels like you're just like...
There's always an angle. I hate angles.
Yeah. And it depends on the time, right? Like, we had our time in the sun where, hey, here's a middle-aged white man hired. And now it's like, you get it. No, it's that's humor. That's what that is.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Hire the best person. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's all you need to say.
Hey, speaking of hiring the best person, I'm gonna tell you right after the break. We said we weren't gonna talk about politics.
Bruno?
And I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I would much
okay.
rather talk about Bruno. Seems like a lovely gentleman. This week, in the subreddit r/pics, Herschel Walker flashes a fake badge during the Georgia Senate debate. Please tell me you saw this.
I half read the story because, God, I hate politics.
You're going to hate it after this. You're going to hate this.
Man. This is one of those very interesting races because all they're doing is touting a celebrity to get votes. They're making the government into a celebrity apprentice kind of deal. And I hate it with all parts of my being. Herschel Walker is very unpopular here in the state of Minnesota. Do you know why?
Football.
The backstory is we traded, I don't know, like half of the state for Herschel Walker back in the day. That allowed the Dallas Cowboys to go on like 4 straight Super Bowl runs.
This is why your Uncle Steve is no longer around.
What?
What?
He's not having a great time in the spotlight because people are saying that he's got CTE, which is what you get when you take too many blows to the head in a professional sports setting.
Oof. Yeah, Herschel Walker, just to take it back a little bit, he was a multi-season football player for college and the NFL, correct?
That's right, sports analyst Willy.
I'm reading Wikipedia here. Just I love the comments on Reddit because sometimes they can just be so on point. Soothing Wombat says, "I'm convinced this is simply Sacha Baron Cohen filming his next satirical film." How is this real? For those of you wondering what the hell happened, because I also am like Scott and try not to pay attention to politics, there is a Georgia Senate race, and he was on stage debating with a Democratic candidate.
Named?
Does it matter?
Yes. I want to give the spotlight to that guy, not Herschel Walking Dead.
Raphael Warnock, who is the incumbent Democratic candidate. And all of this back and forth happens, and finally, Raphael says, "I have never claimed to be a police officer, and I would never threaten a police officer." So what does Herschel Walker do? He pulls out a comically fake badge and says, "But I am a police officer," which he's not. And you immediately hear the crowd just bust into laughter. The moderator of this debate is like, "Please, you cannot bring a prop. I don't know how I can tell you more specifically. Don't bring props."
And his response was the most terrifying thing, though.
I don't know if I heard his response.
His response said, "Oh no, this isn't a prop. This is real." Because he didn't understand that anything you bring on stage in a debate is considered a prop. He doesn't realize that he's a prop for the GOP.
Politics aside, I just want good human beings to be fighting for real things, to not make the lives of other human beings a backseat to some
Agendas.
sort of agenda, to a publicity. Like, regardless, you could put the best conservative and the best Democratic candidate, the best human beings that truly believe in what they want out of the world. As long as you are good-natured, I'm hoping that you're going to set my life up for success.
Yeah, I want somebody who cares about us and doesn't tell people with diabetes to just start eating better. That's what Herschel Walker said. He's got jokes, but I'm pretty sure that whole run up is a joke. So hopefully Warnock prevails in that one, just because if he loses, I think we all lose at the end of the day.
Yes, specifically Georgia. I have one story of something that happened in Georgia, and Scott, I can't make this up. This is real.
I mean, if you're about to tell me that the devil went down there, there's a song about it already, okay?
It involves punching horses, so maybe...
That happened at the 96 Olympics, too.
Oh, God. We're on this road trip. We're going down to Florida for spring break, and you stop through Georgia. You have to make a pit stop just to fill up a tank of gas and then get the hell out. And this truck, this beat-up truck that doesn't seem like it has enough left of it to hold a trailer,
Oh.
has a trailer with a horse in it.
Not a monkey with a baseball bat?
No.
Deep cut.
I would take that right now. So this just like inbred white man gets out of his truck,
Allegedly.
starts to fill up, and the horse is making a racket, is loud, and he's like, "Hey man, you shut the fuck up." That's the best Southern accent I can give you. The horse doesn't obviously shut up because nobody understood what that man said. And he goes, "You shut up now." And then he goes up to the horse.
Sounds like he's from New Orleans.
And through the grate, punches him in the face. And you know what the horse did?
Responded with, "You didn't need to do that."
The horse stopped.
Wait,
it worked.
Was this guy the coach from The Water Boy?
Oh God, it must have been a really weird trip to Florida. Maybe I'm misconstruing what I remember.
Okay, so punching horses works, is what you're saying. Well, speaking of people who are old and probably sound like Willy.
What?
Do you know that clip, that meme, when people like start to question themselves, and it's from that English show with the Nazis, and they say,
"Are we the baddies?"
Well, this week in Not the Onion, Watchmen creator Alan Moore. Adults loving superhero movies is infantile and can be a precursor to fascism. Willie, what's your most anticipated movie of the month?
Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
It's basically the Watchmen creator. He's the guy who made that book back in the day, those comics. And he has called them a blight to cinema and also to culture to a certain degree. Willie, has liking superhero movies as adults made us weaker? Has it made us beta cucks, as the alphas would say? Are you a beta cuck?
I mean, is it a type of fish? No. I've never.
Do you feel?
Oh my God.
I know. Do you feel?
I feel
any
nothing.
Sort
That's what I feel. I feel absolutely nothing.
You're comfortably numb, but is it wrong for adult men to be lining up with boys to go see these movies? Comics
No.
were created for boys, is what he was trying to argue. And they have always been created for young kids. So he thinks that if everybody's into these movies now, that just means that we are kind of like going backwards. We're just constantly in that infantile mind.
Says the person who has written books to get people thinking creatively, to challenge people's thoughts. A piece of fiction. For what? For boys? You sick fuck? Is that what you're doing? You're creating tantalizing stories to try to wheel in these small children? You sound like a witch from Hocus Pocus. You sicko. My thought is, who cares? Can't we all just have a life that says, I find entertainment in this, and then enjoy the life that you have?
Once you're not a kid anymore, which I don't know where that age is, 18, 26, 35, after your first divorce, second divorce, like when are we grown-ups? When should we stop liking this material?
I was listening to a podcast this week called The Filmcast, and they were talking about Avatar. And Jeff Kanata, on the show, one of the hosts, said exactly what I'm thinking in this moment. Alan and anybody else, Scott, who says this movie's garbage and tries to conflate it with certain points, it doesn't fucking matter. I enjoyed that film, and nothing that you say, nothing that you can try to prescribe is going to take that down a notch, because that's not the point. I found that entertaining. I enjoyed the content. I like going to MCU films because I find the joy in it, and it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't that you didn't like it. That doesn't take it down a notch for me. That to me is petty.
Let me just tell you that I watched all of the new Lord of the Rings series, Rings of Power. I loved the hell out of this show. There was a couple moments of hokiness, but I was just like, whatever. I'm eating right now. Like, This is good content. I love those movies. I didn't mind the sequels.
Good soup.
But overall, it was a good series, and I'm just happy to have this content. So what did I do? I went to the subreddit Rings of Power, and I was like, I want to see what the community is saying. Like, I want to see what everybody else is saying for, the people that are like me that like it and want to talk about it. I walked into the room with the pizzas in my hand, and everything was on fire. People were fighting and crying, and it was pretty much like walking into Mordor, which you simply don't do.
No, you don't.
At the end of the day, I had to decide, like, oh, did I actually like this show? Was it actually good? And I thought to myself, yeah, I enjoyed it. This is for me. This is my own selfish liking of this story. I would watch it again. Honestly, I will watch this show again before the second season comes out. It was that good. And all these people that are complaining about it, like, I get it. You're hooked into the book for who knows how long. You want something that is kind of matching your vision, and it didn't. I get that. I hear you. Everybody can have their own opinions. If you don't like it, great, awesome. But you also have to realize that maybe some of the vitriol that's coming out is really tied into something else, and it's just causing you to be more reactionary or more defensive towards this one thing that probably isn't as bad as you're thinking.
I couldn't say it any better.
So this Alan Moore guy is thinking that we should all pretty much just grow up.
I'm not getting down with what he said. It's sometimes good. It's sometimes not. It's time for Ups and Down Votes with Willy and Scott. All right, Scott, ready? Call it.
Heads.
Yeah.
We're going streaking!
It's just 2 in a row, you dangly nutsack. Let's go. Come on.
Oh, good. My upvote of the week.
It's good. My upvote makes a better TikTok anyway, so if you want to hear my upvote.
No, I'm going to switch things up.
Go. What?
I'm switching it up. I'm going with my downvote because I want my downvote to make the show.
Oh, okay. Fine.
I'm not saving this one. Let it not be said that I didn't give you a chance, Willie. Because this week in Black People Twitter, the title is an NDA to attend a non-accredited school, not on your life. It's from a tweet about Kanye West opening a private school called the Donda Academy. Parents must sign an NDA to have their children attend. The cost? $15,000 a year. The school is not accredited. And then of course, there's a video of kids singing Good Morning Donda. The person who retweeted this typed out, Netflix 10 years from now, escaping Donda Academy.
I don't know how anybody can listen to something that Kanye West says and says, yeah, that seems credible. That seems real. That's somebody that I want to get behind. Not only that, but kids are not people to just play with, especially their education. Like, why are we screwing around with this?
I don't understand the motivation, and I'm sure a lot of people don't, but he's a great musician.
Yeah.
Nobody will argue that. Like, 0 people can say, like, oh, he sucks. They can say they don't like their music, but you can't deny that Kanye is a genius when it comes to the artistry of music.
100%.
He can do whatever he wants with his money.
Not whatever, but pretty much.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to be... I mean, the standards of, like, don't hurt anybody, don't cause any harm, don't kidnap people and pee on them. Like, don't do that unless they sign a waiver, Don't do that.
Or at that point, if they're signing a waiver, have a good night.
Yeah. Right. We're not yucking yums here, but do you think this is going to go well?
No, 100% no.
I am also going to say 100% no. And now we just have to wait and see.
Well, speaking of schools, Scott, my upvote of the week is something that is oh so dear to my heart. Counter to what I just said, cheating is bad. But sometimes when you do it well, You hope to not get caught. We've all done this before. We've all tried to think to ourselves, I'm not prepared for this test. How
told you
can
about
I
it last
cheat my
week.
way through it? From the
told you about
subreddit,
this.
Interesting AF. Here's a photo of confiscated pens containing cheat notes intricately carved by students at the University of Malaga in Spain. Did you see this?
I saw this post because it was much smarter than mine. When I had the crib sheet underneath the I guess cuff of my sleeve, it was pretty obvious what I was doing. But this person took a Bic pen with the clear, I don't know, acrylic body and somehow carved in 0.5 font all of the answers to the test. I don't
At
even think we
that
had the
point-
technology.
Just give the person an A. That is so much work. This person deserves an award for trying. Like, if you're putting that much effort into making your pen the cheat
Yeah.
sheet, shouldn't you
Cut-
just get an award?
Okay, so we talked about Donda. We talked about this. I've been watching Abbott Elementary, and they talked about different types of intelligences, which was new to me. I had not heard about that. But this is the type of person that we should reward, not for cheating on the test. That's bad. But we should reward
Allegedly.
them for the ingenuity, Be like, oh,
Right.
you're going to fail this test, but I'm actually going to move you into this other class called espionage and like how to get away with murder. And we're going to see what happens. We're just going to, follow your career with great interest.
Steve0512 said, decades ago, when I was in college, I wrote some difficult formulas on the inside of a paper coffee cup, then filled the coffee cup up. I sipped the coffee while working on the test, revealing my notes slowly. At the end of the test, I crumpled up the cup, threw it away in the trash can next to the teacher's desk as I handed in the test. Some people are just so innately creative that, to me, this is an indication of education has gone down this really weird path. And maybe Donda University would correct this. And listen, I'm gonna flip what I said earlier. Donda University, for the creatives, it's a win. All the cheaters, Steve 05 and this guy from Spain, you guys are winners in Kanye's book. Herschel
Thank you so-
Walker's there too.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Find more of us on our socials, and we'll see you next week.
Butt sex. Willie, my upvote of the week is from Next Effing Level. In an act of defiance and in solidarity with the women of her country, and for the first time in 43 years, a female Iranian athlete, Elnaz Rakabi, competes in an international event without her mandatory headscarf. She will almost certainly face persecution once she is back in Iran.
Man, I mean, what is there to say? I am all for any human being having the choice to follow religion in a way that works for them, that they align with. I disagree when those beliefs persecute others. And this is a clear act of defiance against her not being able to be the person she wants to be. And I appreciate and respect this act as an amazing point of humanity. It's sad that we've gotten to this point. Scott, my downvote of the week is a life pro tip. And it really makes sense, especially for you watchers on TikTok. Stop engaging with online content that makes you angry. The algorithms are keeping you angry and turning you into a zealot, and you aren't actually informed. We all get baited into clicking on content that makes us angry or fuels our side of a contentious topic. The problem is that once you start engaging with rage bait content, political or culture wars, news, etc., the social media algorithms, which aren't that bright yet, assume this is all you want to see. Your feeds begin filling up with content that contributes to a few things. First, your anger, obviously. But secondly, you begin to get a sense that the issues and viewpoints you are seeing are much more prevalent and you are more correct than they actually are. You start to fall into the trap of echo chambers where you become insulated from the opposing views, which makes you less informed and less able to intelligently develop your opinions. The short answer is make conscious decisions to engage in open dialogue with people of opposing views.
And listen to There's a Sub for That podcast. I want to ask my business partner to be with me romantically.
Huh?
Not you.
Oh, okay. Why
How
not?
do I go? How do I go about changing the context of our relationship? Don't you say anything. Don't. Background. My childhood friend, female 31, and I, male 34, started a business together right out of college. We worked our asses off and became fairly successful. We put our hearts and our souls into it, and because of that, our social lives suffered. A lot. She was always better at balancing than I, and had a long-term boyfriend until about 7 months ago. They broke up, in part because he said she always prioritized the business over him, though they were also long distance. She shows up at my house crying. We hang out, drink wine, watch movies. I'm chronically single and tipsy. And now she's single and tipsy. Plus, neither of us had done the deed in a while. And one thing led to another. Now, we agreed the next day never to discuss it again. We didn't want to F up everything we had worked for in our friendship. This wasn't to be because she ended up pregnant.
Oh.
Zero scares with the ex, and one night of drunken sex, bam! We discussed the A word, but she decided not to go through with it, and because
Anal.
she was concerned that she wouldn't get another chance to be a mom. We agreed it could happen with someone far worse, and we're pretty irrevocably financially tied anyway, and we get along better than most people who actually have tried to have kids. Living together just made sense. I have a house that I inherited that's bigger than both of us could ever afford, so there's room for us to each have our own room plus a room for the baby. We spend most of our days together anyway because of work, so living together has now made that easier. We have separate rooms, though we have been intimate since she moved in and sometimes share a bed. I want to be with her, but I don't know how to move to that step. She's literally next to me, asleep in bed. We go out to dinner together, spend most of our time together. I just don't know how to move into that romantic context or even if it's a good idea. I mentioned it to my sister, who blew up at me and accused me of trapping her and said that my partner would think I'm just asking because she is pregnant. But the truth is, I think I've always loved her, but I didn't want to admit it because she's way out of my league. So, what do I do?
Scott, you and I have had some amazing opportunities to go travel around the world, see amazing sights from Paris to London, you name it. We've seen a lot, but I can't tell you the last time I saw a mosque that was this beautiful. This is a 900-year-old mosque in Iran. Take a look.
Wow. I want to go to there. It's covered in mirrors?
The thing that is so insane to me is that this is a video. And as we know, videos and photos never do something like this justice.
No.
And if I am jaw on the ground in awe of a building like this, somebody out there has been there, and I would love to know what the actual feeling is when you go there. And also, top comment is, people forget 900 years ago was just 2003.
Just 1980. This one might hit close to home, but what I've learned from old. I was 40 and newly divorced. I had no idea how to meet people, so I gave old a chance. After having used dating apps on and off for the better part of almost 5 years, I figured, why not throw my hat in the ring and share the top 3 things I've learned about old, and more importantly, about myself. Mistake number 1, expectations. In the beginning, I approached every single match as if they would be the one. How could I not have? We had been texting, talking, hitting it off. We had similar interests and backgrounds. We'd meet up in person. Sometimes it would go well, and others it definitely didn't. And surprisingly, in both cases, I would be left feeling disappointed. The reason being is, I had built up this person who I didn't even really know. And based on what? A few days of texting or even phone conversations, and maybe a few dates. I decided to go into meeting people with 0 expectations. I told myself, if I'm leaving the house as a single person, and if things go well, that's great. And if they don't, that's okay too. Because when I came home after the date, I'm still the same person. Mistake number 2, being impatient. I went into thinking I was going to meet my perfect match right away. And if we didn't hit it off, I'd want to go full speed ahead, rushing to slap a label on it and call it a day. I quickly realized this was not the path to a healthy and fulfilling relationship. Finally, I asked myself, what's the rush? I decided to slow down and take time to get to know somebody. What seemed like a daunting task turned into a very enjoyable experience. I took a breath to put things into perspective, and this is what I figured out. While we had, in fact, some great conversations, built chemistry, enjoyed spending time together, at the end of the day, I still had let a stranger hurt my feelings. Because in the grand scheme of things, I was just scratching the tip of the iceberg as to who this person really was. Finally, mistake number 3, taking things personally. No one likes to be rejected. Throw in somebody not responding, saying something that doesn't really jive with you, or outright being ghosted can really take the wind out of your sails. Even when it had progressed to dating exclusively and then ended after a week or maybe even a few months, I'd ask myself, what did I do wrong? My head would be left spinning with so many unanswered questions. I decided to flip the script. Instead of focusing on them, I turned it back onto myself. What was I bringing to the table? Would I want to date me? Is there something I could work on to make myself a better partner? And I stopped asking if I was right for them and asked myself if they were right for me.